Hello everybody, my name is Shake. Today I wanted to make another video about Steven Anderson. I wanted to play a clip where he actually says that he hopes the cops kills his brother. Steven Anderson's daughter run away from home to get away from him because she was scared of him, because he's threatening her. And Steven Anderson's brother took her in, and now Steven Anderson's threatening his brother. Now, I want you to ask yourself when you listen to this, is this a born-again Christian?
You call the cops on your brother. Hey, my brother stole my daughter, and if the cops killed him... And you know what? You may not like that. I don't care whether you like it.
Yep, that's Steven Anderson. That's Steven Anderson, all right. You know, he wants the cops to kill his brother, gives him a thumb. Now, the Bible says that he who does not love his brother is not born of God. He who does not love his brother is not born of God. I want to replay this clip of his daughter too, just because I made a video about this yesterday, but the vision of it, the lighting was so bad. So let's just replay this too while we're at it. If I can get it to work.
Doesn't time.
Oh man.
Obviously, there were things going on, like my dad beating us with an electrical cord, beating my mom with an electrical cord. There were other punishments being used, like, for example, cold showers, which I talked about in the last video.
Now imagine being beaten with an electrical cord. And Steven Anderson beats his wife with an electrical cord. Now in the Bible it says that if a man is harsh with his wife, I think this is in 1 Peter, that it will hinder his prayers. So God will not answer your prayers if you're harsh with your wife. Let that sink in. And Steven Anderson routinely beats his wife with an electrical cable. And he beats his children with it too. And she's going to go on to say that they would stick their head, under the water, or in cold showers and stuff, trying to drown their kids.
They would threaten all sorts of things. They would say that we had to eat our own, like when we got sick, we would have to, Anyway, I don't really want to get into.
They would tell them they need to eat their own vomit. They would threaten them, if you throw up, you have to eat it.
That stuff, because a lot of that stuff is very grisly and gnarly. But that is discussed in my other interview. They severely abused us in a lot of ways, which I explained in that last interview. But that has not stopped in that my parents are still very abusive to my younger siblings. For example, my brother, and I won't say his name to protect him from whatever fallout this could bring on him, but one of my little brothers actually confided in me, and I know someone else who he confided in, that his head will constantly be hurting and that he gets a lot of headaches, and that he thinks it's from my mom hitting him in the head, which I have seen my mom hit this particular sibling in the head many, many times.
Yeah, that is child abuse. That's not considered discipline at that point. Discipline legally is considered spanking, whooping, hitting somebody in the head. That's just domestic violence. They could go to prison for that. That is totally illegal for them to be doing that. And I'm disappointed in the police that they're not investigating them more than what they are. But luckily, Steven Anderson did get recently put into a mental institution for 24 hours. I'm glad that this stuff is coming out on Steven Anderson. I'm very sad for the victims. I'm sad for his children. Please keep them in prayer. Especially the daughter here who, she's not 18 yet. So, there's always a possibility Steven could try to track her down or wherever she is. But keep her in prayer. But I am glad that the truth has come out on Steven Anderson. Steven Anderson has been a wolf in sheep's clothing the whole time. He was the same guy who used to pray for gay people to die in the pulpit. Now, we're supposed to be against homosexuality, but praying for people's death is against the Bible. It says in the Bible that God wills that none should perish. Alright, so Steven don't have God's heart. Steven is a very, very wrathful, rageful, wicked man. and he should be stepping down from ministry. He's not fit to be a minister, and he belongs in prison or a mental institution, wherever he ends up. But I encourage people to keep exposing people like Stephen. Keep exposing these frauds. You may think, what might ruin Christianity? Look, at the end of the day, these people it's what's ruining Christianity, and defending these people ain't going to do any good. And the way I see it, if you defend these people, you're just as bad as they are. So, anyway, God bless.